This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Oh, remember how we talked about Logan Ryan for the Miami Dolphins? And it was a guy that was a target that possibly they could add. And he's a good player. There's no doubt about it. But I think we now found out why he is still a free agent and nobody has signed Logan Ryan. Anybody know? He looks at himself as a safety, not a corner. And remember, the report is that he wants somewhere in the $10 million range. So safeties don't normally get a lot of money. And he, by the way, has not played nearly, put it this way, he played 855 snaps at slot corner. He's played, including playoffs. He's played 243 at wide corner. He's played 180 in the box and 22 at free safety. So he doesn't have a ton of film at free safety. He has some film at strong safety, but it's mostly all corner. So you're asking for $10 million. You are a good player, but are we sure you're going to be as good a corner as you are a safety? You're going to be as good a safety as you are a corner. And so now you're asking GMs to kind of forecast this. And maybe he doesn't want to play corner as much now that he's getting into the latter half of his career. I don't know what the method behind the madness is. Kind of like the whole thing with Blunts. Don't know the method behind the madness. Same thing here. And so now we find out maybe the Dolphins did not want to pay Ryan that kind of money to play safety for them. Okay? Now, they do like their safeties to have cover skills, so it kind of fits what they want, but maybe they didn't want to pay the kind of money that he wants at this point in time. And so I'm kind of thinking that that's what's going on with Logan Ryan, who's a good player, still available out there, and you're wondering, why is he still available? Why isn't a guy signed like, well, that's because he doesn't really want to play corner. So he sent out his agent, he had his agent send out, a letter to all the teams that if you're interested in him, you're interested in him as a safety, not a corner. So now you have your answer on maybe why the Dolphins did not actually spend money on Logan Ryan. Because remember, we talked about him. He was one of those guys. And when I saw that, I was like, damn, so that's the deal now. And there's no way the Dolphins are going to pay. Not a lot of teams are going to pay that kind of money for safety unless you're convinced he can be a stud safety and you're a safety away from a title. Like, that's your weakness in your secondary. And you got to have it in order to complete your defense and make a run. Then I understand you're doing it. But the Dolphins are rebuilding, and he's not a young player. He's a veteran player already at this point. So now it kind of, you start to see the method behind the madness. Now you start to see why he's available and why the Dolphins may not have gone for him. And not just the Dolphins. Why nobody has signed the guy. And at this point, I got to tell you, it's pretty ballsy on his part because he's a good player. And yet you're sitting out there and you have no contract. Money dries up. It doesn't, as time goes on, there isn't more money available. There's less because teams will then, with their space, they'll say, okay, well, we're done with spending. Let's pay any of our in-house guys now that might need a contract. Let's get ahead on that. And that's what ends up happening with cap space right now. At this point, when you're done pretty much with your offseason and you're done adding players and you're saying, here's where we're at. Okay, let's go to the guys that their contracts are coming up in the next year or two or three. Who are the guys? Do we start working on those kind of deals? That kind of stuff.
It's crazy with the proliferation of the passing game. The fact that you have a safety that can cover and nobody's like, it doesn't make sense, man.
But safeties don't get paid a lot of money. They're not as
valued.
But so if he's wanting corner money to play safety, then that becomes an issue for certain teams. And if here's the thing, you're now telling the Dolphins, think about this. You're now telling the Dolphins, no, I'm a safety. You can't tell the Dolphins that. They move safeties to corner and corners to safeties and linebackers, and they move. They could put you wherever they want because that's how they want to be. They don't want to be penciled into anything. They want to have different looks and all. So they need players that are willing to be flexible.
You don't sound like much of a team player, man, because I was taught you go where you best can help the team. That's what you do.
Why isn't Minka here?
Exactly.
He didn't want to be a team player.
But then he changed his mind.
Right. No.
And then he changed his mind again.
Yeah.
And then he changes.
He's a diva now. That's what we've come to learn from that guy. So there you go. It's kind of like, remember the Antonio Brown thing? When the receivers opted out, you had a couple of silly Dolphin fans what? Let's go get Antonio Brown. And it's like, dude, Brian Flores is your coach. You understand that? Like discipline, like dedication, like no buffoonery. That guy's not going to put up with that stuff. Okay? He's not. So why would he want Antonio Brown? Why would he want Odell Beckham with a watch on the field? Silly Dolphin fans come up with that kind of stuff. Like you don't look at what's going on. Now the Logan Ryan thing, when I saw that story, I go, okay, now I understand it. Now I get everything. Now I know the Dolphins probably don't want to spend that kind of money at safety for a player in the back half of his career. And they also don't want a guy that says, no, I'm only a safety. Well, wait a minute, bro. We might need you at nickel or dime at the moment because they're spreading us out. And you've got better cover skills. We want to move you over. No, I'm a safety. Oh, well, then screw you. So now you have your answer. Now we have the whole story with Logan Ryan. Okay? So there you go, Dolphin fans.